Hello and welcome to another episode of Sports with Monga. I know it's been a while, but then here we're back, and we're trying to be more regular, hopefully, with the current schedule that we're on. But we're back, and we're here to discuss about the Spa-Francorchamps Belgian Grand Prix Sprint weekend, which has just finished an hour ago, I would say. I've been trying to figure a lot of stuff to kind of how to get this back to the old system, but then it's been interesting. It's kind of something which you find and you realize that it's a Belgian Grand Prix. It is supposed to rain. It is what it is. You're not confused, you're not surprised. That's how it has always been. Last year as well, if you remember, it's been one of those the torrential rains, the rainiest track all around. But some worried faces over FP1 yesterday, and also moreover, like today, how it's been raining and how it's not even stopped. It's just before the they had to kind of delay the whole session, the sprint qualifying, to by I think 40 minutes or 20 minutes. They had to delay by 20 minutes before they kind of started the sprint qualifying. But it's great to be back. It's great to kind of have this to be able to kind of chat with you guys again. And so let's get into it. Like, it's been wet wild sprint shootout, as in my opinion, but nothing surprising, I would say, right? It's been a dominance. It's been a domination of one person only. I can't even see a team. It's a domination of one person and one part side of the garage completely for the Red Bull Racing, and that is Max Verstappen. He is on a roll. He is on a demolition spree here. He's not giving anything away to anybody. If anybody's thinking that he will drop his shoulder and he will relax for some time and it's going to allow others to kind of, or like give others a chance, there is no way. He is demolishing them one bit by bit. It was a weird kind of qualifying. If I have to start like from the SQ3, pretty interesting to see how the bottom run kind of damaged out here. Nico Hülkenberg. What was interesting was like the Haas team, they kind of messed up operationally, where the chief engineer literally had to come in later and apologize to both the drivers of the issues of the mistakes they made. One was when they came in to get the new set of wet tires. The jack broke. That delayed Nico to get out of the pits, which meant that he did not reach the start finish line before the flag fell. So he was completely, he did not even set a time, I would say. His first time was really, he didn't set a time, so that was completely out. So Nico Hülkenberg was like, or we should call him Nico Hülkenberg, because he's dressed up like Ken with his hair and everything. So he was out P20. With Kevin Magnussen, it was similar issues. Like they put him out in the traffic. He couldn't improve his time, and he was out. Alfa Romeo, they are good at, like in Budapest, Zhou Guanyu was on 5th. He finished 5th in the qualifying. It was a rocket ship. But then here we come to Spa, and it's completely unknown where they are going to finish and how they're going to react. Like, what's the pace? It is so hard to kind of tell what's the pace right now with Alfa Romeo as well, and Valtteri Bottas. Like, I was expecting him to do a little bit better, but I don't think he has the car underneath him to be able to kind of give the results that they're expecting. One surprise which I felt was Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki did well last in Hungary. Of course, we have not talked about Daniel Ricciardo coming back. I might do a separate video maybe, but maybe it's too late and maybe everybody knows everything about it. That's why I'm kind of avoiding to do things that have happened in the past, because then there's loads of things that I want to do. But just to kind of cap on, maybe I will do something as the weeks progress, maybe in the summertime or something, and so on. But what was interesting, in my opinion, was the fact that Yuki Tsunoda could not finish out of the SQ3, and he was stuck in, and he was out qualified by Daniel Ricciardo It's been the third time that Daniel Ricciardo is doing this. He's out qualifying Yuki consistently now, which is a good thing, which is very interesting for me to kind of see that Yuki has been in this car much longer than Ricciardo. But then Ricciardo coming in with his experience has been able to kind of take the bulls by the horns and just kind of get into it. Of course, the race pace is different because you need to understand more. You need to understand more further characteristics, how the car behaves and stuff and so on in low speeds with tires and blah 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 blah. But in the qualifying, like when you give one, when you put the same, when you have the same car and it's one lap, Ricciardo is beating Yuki hands down. So that was the SQ3. Yuki Tsunoda, Valtteri Bottas, Kevin Magnussen, Zhou Guanyu, and Nico Hülkenberg out in SQ3. SQ2 started, and we were like, okay, this is going to be interesting. Ricciardo was the first out, and we were like, okay, he was setting in 159s. I think that's what he said. He was top of the table, but then top of the timing sheet at the time, but it was his first lap, first kind of out lap. But that was nice that he got a good kind of feel of the car, and like they could use the inters, and the inter was working well. But then it was pretty interesting to me, in my opinion, like how it was progressing well. Of course, the main problem was basically everybody was setting the time, like times the track was drying up after a torrential rain over the like since Thursday. It's been pouring in Spa. It was a safety concern, like what will happen, will we have a sprint if it keeps raining like this and stuff and so on. But then luckily the rain stopped, but then it was still a lot of kind of aquaplaning around. The water was still there. But then in the SQ2 it was kind of drying up much faster, and that was, you could see a drawing line, like a racing line that was kind of getting out in the early parts, which Ricciardo kind of did try with to kind of come out, and then everybody was improving on it. So it was not like it was surprising that it's going to happen. Everybody knew this was going to happen, and the track will kind of improve gradually as the time progresses. So you need to kind of get the first banker lap in, so that because if it gets a red flag or somebody's kind of messes up, so you have a time on the board already. You're not kind of caught out. For Ricciardo in my opinion, that was the kind of idea of AlphaTauri to kind of send him out. But you could see the timings kind of going down to 150, 156, 7, 156 and 5s. And then eventually, like, you could feel the fact that, okay, how is this going to kind of, how will this, progress? Because you saw Daniel Ricciardo doing a 157 in his first, and that was kind of the highest. But then it was one of those things like, what's going to happen? How are people going to improve? You saw Max Verstappen do a 155, so that was kind of the limit, right? So 155 was the top, and Ricciardo was a 157, who basically got knocked out, and they did not even set up a time. Like the three people got caught out after Lance Stroll, who put on a medium on, and on the corner which has no name. That's a funny thing. First of all, everybody said it's a James corner, but James said it's not a James corner, it's a no-name corner now. So at no-name corner, he loses the rear and just kind of banks it into the barriers, and it's a red flag with 22 seconds left for the session, and everybody trying to kind of move ahead and kind of find the time to kind of build the momentum to kind of go for the last lap in for the times to improve. But then that caught out everybody for Lance Stroll and for Aston Martin. That caught out Fernando Alonso, who did not even set a time. He did not set a time, and he was completely knocked out. P15, Alex Albon and Logan Sargent will be disheartened because they were on a roll. Albon was feeling that he could kind of get the car, was kind of improving session by session. Logan was kind of falling close after an issue in FP1 yesterday. With a turn and damaging the floor a little bit, but all of them, Daniel Ricciardo, Alex Albon, Logan Sargent, Lance Stroll, and Fernando Alonso all got cut out because Lance Stroll kind of banged it in the barriers at the no-name corner. That was SQ2 done. The savior of SQ2 was basically George Russell. He did a 157.393, which was just 280 like the millisecond fast, like that time faster than Daniel Ricciardo. If Ricciardo had a three tenths, if he had found 3 tenths, it was his. he would have been in SQ3. But let's move on to SQ3. Everybody's like, because the track is now improving, you have a racing line, it's drying up faster, you have better grip and so on. Everybody wants to go, definitely you have to go for the softs. So everybody's on the softs now, and that's kind of how the allocation is. You have the hard, you have the medium, you have the hard, you have the medium, and the soft. So, but in the SQ2, people are still using inter because of the rain or the wet patches on track. So you don't have grip with the medium tires as much as you would with an inter, because you still have water on track. It was funny that Stroll decided to go with the mediums. That still is lower grip than if he had gone for softs, which would have given him a better grip in the first laps at least, and they would have deteriorated with the temperatures and stuff and so on. But anyway, okay, SQ3 starts, and we're like, okay, the Ferraris that are first. Leclerc starts, and he does a banker. He puts in a 150. I think he put in a 150, 155. He put in a 155 or something. Pretty early on. He put in a very good decent lap. I think he put in a 152. Very early on, and Sainz was next to him, 153 or something. But we knew that the times are going to start tumbling. Like, it was crazy. It was amazing to kind of see. What got really, really exciting was like how Ocon and Perez decided like they would want to do one banker lap, like one lap at the almost end when everybody was kind of piling up at the last corner. And that was kind of very dangerous to watch Perez. If you see Perez's outlap, like his final push lap, it was pretty strange that everybody's kind of banking on the right, giving him the racing line, but then he needs to kind of judge it more, because if he kind of misjudges, he's into somebody. He's not going to kind of misjudge a corner. He's either going to lock up or he's going to go directly into somebody, and that's kind of interesting, right? Like when you have these high speed, it's a shootout eventually, right? So you want to get the maximum, but then if somebody's kind of blocking you, or you have somebody in your view, you can't actually make the most. So I think Perez got caught out, and I think that's what he was saying. Like, he was put under traffic. That was not ideal for him. He wants some confidence. He finished P8 for the sprint shootout, in the sprint shootout for the sprint race in an hour. And what was interesting as well was like how the times kind of started going on, tumbling down with of course the man of the moment, which was last. Of course, Max Verstappen was last to kind of cross the start finish, but Carlos Sainz setting up like 149.081, Oscar Piastri setting 149.067, and there comes Max Verstappen with 149.056. It's an 11 millisecond of a difference. It's like not even like the time I've spoken a millisecond, it's gone. That's how fast he was. That's how close this was. But then if you see the top three, or it's like from 056 to 081, it's a 0.025. So 25 milliseconds between the top three. This was banker. This was lovely to watch. I'm really excited. Of course, everybody was like, okay, this is going to be safe and stuff and so on. But then when it delivers, Max Verstappen is the man to beat. He is not going to let anybody even have a whiff of the chances that there is no way he's going to do it. Charles Leclerc would have, should have, could have. It's would, should, could, would have, could have been on pole if he had not made the mistake at the no-name corner. I think he snapped. I think he lost time because he was in the purple on the first sector, and the second sector I think it was yellow. But then he didn't make any improvements, and it was pretty clear that Leclerc was not going to finish on the pole. Sainz almost had a whiff. 25 milliseconds is all it takes. Max Verstappen was like, it's mine. But it's good to see Lando Norris, but it was good to see, I would say, McLaren as well, right? We've been at 3 different tracks now. Of course, they're running a low downforce package, and they were hoping for more wet weather, but it was not completely dry as well. It was drying up. So that's one thing you have to kind of keep in mind when you're thinking about, like, is it dry? Like, is it there is a racing line which emerges because you with the inters, you kind of splash the water out. You find the right kind of place to kind of place like the on the track, the racing line kind of emerges itself after like you have multiple cars running and doing multiple runs. But Lando Norris should be proud. Like McLaren should be proud. Oscar Piastri should be proud. Like he is showing why McLaren did what McLaren did last year, and it's like they fought for it. Like they fought for him. They got it. They got him, and he's there and he's delivering now. He's beating Lando Norris. That's what's happening. That's how we prove you are the driver you are, and you know you have the worth. When you beat a driver who's been there for like ages. And you tell people and people notice. That's really nice from Oscar Piastri. Lando Norris finished P4. Pierre Gasly and Esteban Ocon. That was pretty nice. Like Alpine need a win. Like Alpine has been like it's so sad what happened with Alpine. Like with the last year's saga. This time Fernando Alonso's birthday celebrations happening in Alpine, and then in before the summer break in 4 days he's like, okay, bye, I'm going to Aston Martin, by the way. And then they announce Oscar Piastri, and Oscar Piastri, oh no, I'm not your driver, you've missed your deadlines, guys. Here I'm going to go to McLaren, bye. So and now this weekend, before this weekend started, like Otmar Zofnauer, he's no longer the chief, he's no longer the team principal for Alpine, and that's pretty interesting. And that's one of the things, right? Like you feel for this team. You feel they need a win. They've not had a win for quite some time. Of course, we've had other news regarding with Lauren Mack, with the change in the leadership as well at Alpine. Like they want to move things differently. They want to move things faster, and they have a new person on top. Those things are. It's not really helping Alpine. So this result was a good positive input to them for this weekend, and that was nice to see. Pierre Gasly, after having a dismal, they both took each other out in Hungarian Grand Prix. They were out after the first corner. I thought there was no their fault. Zhou Guanyu hitting Daniel Ricciardo, which kind of caused it was a domino. But then, yeah, it is what it is. Lewis Hamilton basically miffed. Mercedes were like all over the place after. So basically, Mercedes wanted Russell to lead and Hamilton to kind of get some slipstream. What happened in the first corner is Russell locks up, and because he locks up, there's not a lot of space, and there's a lot of so he's then side by side to Hamilton, but he's then fighting. He's not giving him space to kind of move. So it's like Hamilton, Eau Rouge, and everything. Hamilton kind of is following Russell and Eau Rouge, where you want to take him, where you after you get the slipstream, you would want to overtake because you have more acceleration and less drag. No, Russell cuts him over. He cuts him over. He messes up his lap, and he's kind of messes up his qualifying, basically, in my opinion. And that's one thing that Hamilton also said after the race, that this could have been better. There was no need for us to kind of take the risk that they did, because they could have taken each other out in the qualifying itself, which led Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton P7, and George Russell P10. Yeah, you can see it, but the timing, he messed up. The tires were fried. He didn't have anything. 155. That's what Russell ended with. It was like, so that was kind of done. That was kind of downward for Mercedes, I would say. They had been on a little positive ride from after Hungary, but then yeah, Russell seems to be struggling right now for form and for kind of the decisions he's been making. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. It's good to be back. It's good to be kind of making these videos again. Do show some love. Do like this video. Do share and do subscribe. And I will catch you in the next one.